I think games like Overwatch don't require huge overhauls to maintain their popularity. Look at CSGO, Valorant, Dota 2, League of Legends, Rocket League, Quake, oh wait, okay, not that one. Sure, they get big updates from time to time, but it's mostly a game of consistency. A game of perfecting that core game loop while maintaining the supporting infrastructure fresh enough. But it is clear that Blizzard needed something to even attempt to bring Overwatch back to the insane numbers it was making back in 2016 when it first released. Hell, everyone and their mom were playing Overwatch back then, myself included. The game sold more than 20 million copies in 2016 alone, which is a pretty big effing number for a $40 game. But then, slowly but surely, we all sort of forgot about it. Was it due to a lack of updates, the combat sandbox becoming stale, or freaking Battle Royale and Fortnite taking over the world? I honestly don't know. What's curious is that if we look at the numbers, Overwatch never really died. I cannot believe these numbers are real, but they put Overwatch average player count at around the same level as CSGO or Valorant during this past year, which that looks insane to me. There is no way that's legit. Anyways, the general online consensus is that Overwatch was pretty dead. Alright, so let's talk about Overwatch 2. This is not a sequel, and everybody knows it. I mean, the only reason why this is called Overwatch 2 is probably because the marketing team wanted it. Here, let me fix it for you. Instead of Overwatch 2, call it Overwatch 2.0. Not a sequel, an update. Your game is going free to play, there are some big sandbox changes, a few new modes and a couple new maps. That's awesome for a big update, but nowhere close to a sequel. Especially when the PvE portion of the package is coming later. By the way, I'm curious to see how that ends up. I'm not super excited about it, but PvE and a story mode is an interesting experiment that I believe can do extremely well given how good Overwatch world and especially the characters are. I think there is a lot of people out there that love Overwatch for its characters but don't really want to sweat their ass off in a competitive game. So a well-supported live service PvE Overwatch could be huge. I am happy to say that I'm having a lot of fun with Overwatch 2. Dare I say, I'm enjoying it as much if not more than 6 years ago when it first released. My main gripe with Overwatch up to a week ago was the shields. The sheer amount of shields. It's insanely boring to be shooting at a shield for like 90% of the game. I will much rather play something else than Overwatch in its previous state. It felt as if you were doing busy work for most of a match, just destroying shield after shield after shield. I am fine with tanks. I think tanks are necessary to properly balance the pace of Overwatch. But there is an inherently different feeling to see an opponent's life bar go down with every shot compared to a shield getting broken and then just regenerating. But that's not that big of a problem anymore. Quite the opposite. The most important change Overwatch 2 brings to the table is scaling down the number of players per team from 6 to 5. And, at least on role queue, teams are limited to a single tank, 2 DPS and 2 healers. I cannot really describe how good this change is. It's something so simple and yet probably the best change they could have ever made to the Overwatch sandbox. It's crazy. I really do believe the game became like 2x more enjoyable because of this. First of all, there is a highly limited source of shields. What do I mean by this? Reinhardt, Orisa, Winston, Zarya, all heroes with heavy reliance on shields, all belong to the tank category. But guess what? You can only have one tank per team now. So any shield that team can put up is often quickly destroyed, allowing for the action to actually, happen sooner, and hence making games much more dynamic. So that's awesome. As a DPS player, spend most of your time actually dealing motherfucking damage instead of shooting at shields. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can tell, but I really don't like shields in Overwatch. Another positive of 5-player teams is that for an online game, removing 2 of the 12 players in a match vastly reduces the chances of a player disconnecting and ruining the match. If this was like a battle royale with hundreds of players per match, it's whatever, right? But in a game like Overwatch, a single player disconnecting or going AFK just destroys the match for everyone else, or at least for their own team. So I'll take whatever I can get to minimize the chances of that happening. On top of that, of course, that with 5-player teams, your actions within the game are that much more important compared to having 6 players per team. What else? Simplicity, right? Removing a hero from each team simplifies the game. There are less variables for any single player to keep track of, like player positions, abilities, and especially since there is only one tank, which is the type of hero that often have the big crowd control abilities that wipe an entire team, there's just less shit to play around. It might be in part due to just having played my placement matches and not having gone into the more, try-hard meta side of things. But where before, I felt like I had to constantly hide because the next big enemy ultimate was about to drop, now things are a bit more relaxed, like there is more space for just good old gunplay. Are there problems? Yeah, for sure, obviously. But weirdly enough, as someone that loves playing and watching competitive games, I think Overwatch should not and should have never optimized for competitiveness over fun. In my view, Overwatch suffers from the same problem that Fortnite does, where the higher the skill level of the players in a match, the less fun the game becomes. So in Fortnite, there was like a year where the game was extremely enjoyable and everyone was kind of mid at building, and all of a sudden came this wave of professional summer constructors that destroyed any sort of normal shooting engagement. Not to mention that if you want to win in a battle royale, you need to take things slow and wait until the end of the game. Overwatch is kind of like that. The better the teams are, the more they are going to rely on like crowd control, shield usage, healing tanks, etc. The opposite of that is something like CSGO, where the real beauty of the game is seen when 2 fully organized teams are playing each other. So going back to the initial point, I think Overwatch should focus on being fun. Yes, of course, be balanced and have an amazing ranked mode, but don't go nuts over the esports scene. I mean, the game is so bad to watch anyways. Alright, there is one more thing to talk about, and that's the changes to the monetization scheme. Overwatch is now free to play. Not too much to say about that really. It was bound to happen. All the top multiplayer games are free to play nowadays. I think it's awesome. New players coming in, playing Overwatch for the first time. Cool. Loot boxes are out. A battle pass system is taking their place. How innovative, am I right? I mean, this is fine. Just like everyone else, I'm not a fan of loot boxes. Even though I think Overwatch loot boxes were kind of okay. Like, I never bought a single loot box in my life, and I always felt like I could have any skin I wanted. But whatever, the less loot boxes in the gaming landscape, the better, so I'll take it. In terms of the battle pass itself, this is your typical battle pass implementation. Rewarding players with cosmetics as they level it up, and then you have daily challenges and stuff like that to help you climb through the levels faster. The one controversial thing here is that new heroes are no longer immediately available for everyone. If you buy the battle pass, then you unlock Kiriko, that's the new hero, straight away. Otherwise, you need to reach level 55 first. I don't want to get too much into it. I think that as long as new heroes aren't available straight away in ranked mode, just like Kiriko isn't right now, this should leave enough space for free-to-play players to unlock them before that happens. But I do think that just giving new heroes to everyone will provide a better experience overall. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen Kiriko's short, go watch it right now. It's so damn good. They really outdid themselves with this one. So how long is Overwatch 2 going to last in the spotlight? I don't think anyone can answer that. The market is even more competitive than it ever was, especially 6 years ago. And it's up to Blizzard to keep the game relevant for as long as they possibly can. Anyways, that's it for me today. I just got an email that Cultic is now available on Steam, so I need to get the hell out of here. Goodbye.
My ultimate ability is charging.